promise never do, and that is I wrote down my remarks. It won't be shocking, but I want to make sure I get it all in. So I want to start officially. Mayor Brinkley, Vice Mayor Hiller, and members of the council, thank you for inviting me to speak with you tonight about the historic Masonic Theater, the Amphitheater. I'm Jeff Stern, I'm the Executive Director, been on the job for about 2 years, and I apologize for not appearing before you until now. I was influenced perhaps by the words of Abraham Lincoln, who said it's better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak up and to remove all doubt. So I guess we'll know in just a few moments how that goes. I'd like to share briefly with you where we've been as an organization, where we are now, and where we're going in the years ahead. The history of the historic Masonic Theater has developed over 112 years, but in so many ways it's a story that still seems largely unwritten. The arrival of the Masonic Amphitheater is little more than 5 years old, but already needs to be refreshed. And as fascinating as each of our structures is on its own, the buildings aren't at the heart of our organization. The Masonic Theater Preservation Foundation is about individuals from all walks of life coming together with a grand idea to enhance the quality of our region's economic and social life through the thoughtful and energetic pursuit of what we call our 3 Ps: preservation, programs, and partnership. Our preservation efforts can be seen now in the fully restored theater building, the once proud part of Clifton Forge history, is operating once again as a community and a cultural center. The completed renovation, as you well know, blends the historic elements, such as the return of the original box seating in the auditorium with modern amenities like, an elevator, and state-of-the-art lighting and sound systems, and a warming kitchen adjacent to the 3rd floor ballroom. The most requested space in our theater, of course, is the once forgotten but now beautifully restored basement level that we call the Underground Lounge and Cafe. The restoration of the theater has attracted both regional and national attention and has been nominated for prestigious architectural and design awards. But all the renovation accolades pale in comparison to the enthusiastic and emotional reactions we have received from the thousands of current and former area residents and their family members. Most walk in during the day, having heard or read about the completed renovations. Some coming from as far away as London, England, if you can believe it. They come because of their personal connection to the theater. For some, the theater was the first place they saw a movie as a child. Some had their first date in the theaters. Others met the person who would become their spouse for 50 years, or that's the story that their grandparents told them before they passed. And yes, for one individual here in town, the connection was just the thrill of throwing ice cream off the balcony onto unsuspecting patrons below. All who visit want to share their stories with us. Most share them through laughter, but some simply take a seat in our auditorium and dissolve into tears, overwhelmed with the memories of a time gone by. Each are profoundly grateful for the preservation efforts that we have achieved together. No less recognized for its design and collaborative process is the Masonic Amphitheater. In its short life, the amphitheater has become known as a community park, a gathering place for events and concerts and community celebrations. Regrettably, the wooden structure of the amphitheater and walking bridge has not performed as we had hoped, and as a result, both the walking bridge deck and the walking deck of the amphitheater will need to be renovated in the very near future. Pending maintenance notwithstanding, the amphitheater remains a vital part of our mission to promote increased community engagement and civic pride. And I just want to give a shout out, they've already been recognized and some of them are gone, to super volunteers Don Roberts and Carol Davis, whose daily efforts make the gardens and grounds of the amphitheater look fabulous. So thank you very much for that. I know you'll find this hard to believe, but the residents of Clifton Forge and the surrounding area are not at all shy about sharing their thoughts and opinions with me regarding the theater and the amphitheater. The most frequent subjects of those conversations are our programs. Our programming strategy has 3 distinct but equally important parts: ticketed or fee-based events, community events, those events that are free or have greatly reduced prices, and private events, what we would call rental events, weddings, things of that nature. We seek the proper balance of each to assure that we are serving both pieces of our mission, to be an engine for economic growth as well as a community center. And we are busy. Since opening in July of 2016, the theater and amphitheater have hosted or presented more than 275 unique, ticketed, community, and private events. And we have welcomed more than 160,000 visitors into our facilities. In 2017 alone, the theater hosted or presented an event on 319 of the 365 days in that year. Some events were daily meetings, some were weddings, and some events were Grammy-winning musicians, all very different. The variety and scope of the events that take place in the theater and amphitheater are designed to appeal to a broad cross-section of our region. Indeed, 47% of our patrons live more than 45 miles away from us. 16% live outside the Commonwealth. Those numbers have grown from our first partial year of operation, and they continue to grow. When I talk about our programs, I think most people are surprised by the amount of community events we hold. Of the 275 events we have presented since we opened, 42% have been ticketed, that means you had to pay to get in. 23% have been private, such as weddings or other things, but fully 35% have been community events. That's about 96 of the 275, with the vast majority having been offered free of charge, open to everyone. I've worked as an arts administrator for decades, and I've never worked for an arts facility that has dedicated so much of its mission and schedule to community events. We are busy, but candidly, looking at our current operating tempo, we might be too busy. I have concerns about our human resources, burning out our volunteers and overburdening our very small support staff, as well as our financial resources, ensuring that we have the right number of events for our marketing and performance budgets. In the months ahead, our organization will work on being more efficient with our ticketed events we offer, which means we may offer fewer than we are offering now, and we'll seek to increase our overall percentage of rental events. But I don't foresee a major reduction in community events on the horizon. Our programming seeks to find the right balance between being a destination for out-of-town visitors and for serving our local community. In the end, we want to attract visitors from around the region and from around the corner. As the executive director of two relatively new facilities, I realized that we aren't the big kid on the block. We are instead the new kid on the block. And playing well with others matters when you're the new kid. That's why partnering with arts organizations, both local and regional, our businesses, our schools, our civic organizations, is so vitally important to us. We know we can achieve more together than we can ever achieve by ourselves. We have forged strategic partnerships with regional arts organizations such as the Barter Theater, the Virginia Opera, the Roanoke Ballet, just to name a few. These partnerships make us stronger and bring us increased awareness both inside the arts community and throughout the region. We have developed similar partnerships with our local arts organizations. We have co-presented events with both the Clifton Forge School of the Arts, as well as Apple Folks of America, the Allegheny Highlands Arts Council, on numerous occasions. This year, we'll partner with the Allegheny Highlands Arts and Crafts Center for the first time to help them present their annual chocolate festival. We are marketing partners with the very newest kids on the arts block, which is the Farm at Glen Haven, and you would see very little of us online or in print if it wasn't for our partnership with Fire and Light Gallery and the very talented and gracious Chuck Alvarez. I cannot stress to you enough how fortunate our town is to have so many remarkable arts facilities and businesses. It's rare, very rare, that a town our size should have so much arts and cultural infrastructure, but it makes Clifton Forge unique among all other localities in the region. I'm proud to be a part of it, and I can report to you that the heads of our arts organizations wake up every day determined to make our community stronger and to find new ways to change lives through the arts. Our town is also blessed with a hardy group of local business owners, and the Masonic Theater and Amphitheater has partnered with many of them. Some are right back there. From catering to printing, from furnishings to signs and musical instruments, we have hosted or spent our money with a wide range of our local businesses. Nearly every caterer in the local area has worked in our facility. Our artists and patrons frequent our local restaurants. We seek overnight accommodations for our artists and patrons at our local inns, B&Bs, Airbnbs, and of course, True Value Hardware is an event day lifesaver for us as it is for most homeowners in the area. We hear all the time about the need to return to small town values and spirit. My father owned a men's clothing store business in a small town. And from a very young age, I saw that business owners in small towns band together. They help each other in extraordinary ways. They look out for one another. It was true for my father in a little town called Front Royal, Virginia. And it's true for me here in Clifton Forge. I am grateful for our many business partners. Partnerships, when done well, have meaningful results for all involved. Our work with the area school systems, houses of worship, community and civic groups have produced striking results. In 2016, the Historic Masonic Theater hosted the Celebration of the Arts, bringing together students from 3 different school systems for a one-day public concert and gallery event. We featured over 100 visual artists, each putting their artwork up in our 3rd floor ballroom, which was crowded to say the very, very least. And 150 singers and musicians performed in their separate school groups on our stage. The theater was packed, and those who attended were absolutely blown away. What's interesting, many remarked that they had no idea there was so much talent in our area. And how could that be true that we don't know? It was an inspiring event on so many levels, and I am pleased to announce that we will once again play host to that same event in March of 2019. We played host to a week-long gospel event, each night a different local church brought in singers and clergy to spread the word to those in attendance. Mustard Deering, through his community ministry, Kaya, partners with us to present his annual Easter sunrise service in our amphitheater, which will take place again this Easter. We gladly work with local events, such as the MLK Day Walk of Legacy, Heritage Days, Flag Day, and the July 4th celebration. In our facilities, these events find levels of technology, equipment, and professional support otherwise unavailable to them. The events, in turn, can be more meaningful, touch more hearts, and help facilitate discussions and dialogue beneficial to the long-term health of our community. Though it is the last of our 3 Ps, partnership is indeed the essence of our organization. Like all young organizations, though, we are not without our challenges. Chief among them, like so many of our small business brethren, is our need for resources. As an industry, nonprofit arts organizations survive on a revenue model made up of 2 parts. Roughly 60% earned revenue, that is fee-based, ticketed pieces, and 40% unearned revenue. Earned revenue encompasses ticket sales, concession sales, merchandise sales, rental fees. Unearned revenue encompasses things such as grants, sponsorships, and donations. Art organizations have relied on this revenue model since the first arts nonprofit was formed. While the percentages fluctuate from organization to organization and from region to region, the basic concept remains. The arts need unearned revenue to survive and grow. The Masonic Preservation Foundation, Masonic Theater Preservation Foundation, is no different. As we work to strengthen our earned revenue by making our ticketed events more effective and increasing our facility rentals, we will equally increase our efforts to seek and expand avenues for unearned revenue. To do that, we will again submit an application to you for funding in your 18-19 annual budget. We are deeply grateful for your past support, and we thank you for your coming consideration this year. Your support, in concert with support from other grant funders and our ever-growing base of individual donors, is vital for us to continue to expand our 3 Ps and manage preservation efforts, increase the effectiveness of our programs, and find more creative ways to partner with our community. But before I wrap up, I wanted to take a moment to mention one name that hasn't come up yet. John Hiller. John was on my mind as I was putting this presentation together, and to be honest, sitting at theater every day, he's on my mind a lot. He wouldn't want me to talk about it now, he'd want me to wrap it up, but he could be a stubborn kind of fella, and we shared that in common, so I'm going to continue. Much has been said and shared and celebrated about John's life and his work to make the theater and amphitheater a reality, and absolutely no more needs to be said about that. But what does need to be said about John is what he always wanted me to know when I arrived here, that he didn't do it alone. In the all too few conversations I had with John, he wanted me to understand that building the amphitheater and renovating the theater wasn't about him. It was about us. You care about those in our community who are struggling to put a meal on the table or a roof over their heads. So do we. You care about individuals in our community that many others have written off as hopeless or worthless. So do we. You have a deep desire to help every member of this town develop and reach their full potential. So do we. So did John. John knew that the theater was at the heart of this community, a community that cared. He knew that because so many of you told him that was true. And he decided to do whatever he could to try to make the heart of this community stronger. That's just who he was. And he asked us to help him. And a bunch of us did. So that's who we are too. And if he were here, he'd remind us of what we already know. John is gone. But we are all John. Each of us, in our own way, doing what we can to make the heart of this community stronger. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
You say you're gonna, I know you're gonna ask to be budgeted in our budget. Are you gonna ask for the Allegheny County budget?
Yes, sir.
Good luck.
Thank you. They zeroed us out in the budget year before this, but put us back in this year. So we'll keep at it.
Jeff, thank you very much for that
Thank you.
presentation. Very enlightening.
Thank you.
Very enlightening.